I don't know what's going on with this, but we'll see. Good morning.
Good morning.
Cheyenne, this is a YouTube reading, so it will be public. You're aware of that, and I have your permission.
Yes, you do have my permission.
So let's get started. I will share the screen, and always feel free to interrupt me and ask me questions.
Okay.
Can you see the screen?
I can.
Okay, let me open the panels. Oh, they're open. Okay, I'm going to move you aside here. Okay, let me look at one thing here on your chart. Oops, what happened? Damn. Oh, there we go.
There we are.
Let's see, get this. Okay, so you start in the body maps that we use. They are considered a synthesis of the Kabbalistic tree of life, chakras, astrology, and the I Ching. So when we look at the human design, we're looking at one moment in time, and then a time 3 months prior to that, roughly, when the baby's consciousness becomes impressionable in utero. We know that from brain scans and from the fact that if a pregnant woman plays music in the third trimester, the baby remembers the music. But if it's earlier, the baby doesn't. So the first design you see on the page is your design, human design. The prenatal lunar is what Ra was shown is the spiritual design in a 15-gate matrix. And that occurs about a week before birth when the spirit enters the fetus. Ra only had these two body graphs and the lunar design in a 15-gate matrix, which I can show you. Oh, because it's too big. Here. So these are the four matrices. This is the human design wheel, and it is a synthesis of this tree of life, chakras, astrology, and then the I Ching is on the outside, and the astrology corresponds to different hexagrams of the I Ching. You know all this. What you don't know is that in the dream design, which is the spiritual archetypal 15-gate matrix, we usually turn it on its side for dreaming. I leave it this way because when I'm reading a chart and I'm reading the developmental components of the chart, it's quite important for the transits to be also taken into account because they're critical developmental times in early development. So then the Emotional-Angelic is a matrix that I got, and these bottom two wheels are calculated at a finer astrological component. So it shows the physical layer, the biology, especially in twins, and it shows how we can transform emotions via the tree of life to higher octaves. So when I'm looking at your chart, you make it bigger again. You started out in the second hexagram. When you were born, you were a Leo. And then postnatally, you went all the way to the 44. So let me show you that on the wheel and why it's important. The 2 is in Taurus. That's your prenatal sun.
Mhm.
Then the 7 is your natal sun. So we start in the 2. The planets had all moved to the 7, and then the 44 is in Scorpio. So that whole half wheel was programmed into you, Cheyenne, by the time you were 3 months old. That's what I'm looking at.
Mhm.
I'm looking at the developmental sequence of energy and how it impacted you. So while you're considered a manifesting generator in your natal design, and you're a strong manifesting generator, on the lunar level, you lose some of that energy and you pick up energy from other people. And that's the healer in you. That's where you feel in your body more often the emotions of people than the um, frequency of people. But notice that in all the layers, mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical, 4 worlds that we live in, according to the tree of life. And remember, Ra Uru Hu always said that the human design system was a synthesis, but he didn't know what the synthesis was. And that's why he asked me to validate it scientifically. So when you look at all of the layers and you look at the postnatal lunar world, you become a transformer of emotional energy for other people. Are
Mhm.
you aware of that?
I feel like in my relationship, I can see that.
Mhm. You have this 4816, and you also have the 1333, the 214, and the 63, and the 2750. So if I were reading just your human design chart, I would be saying to you, you are a healer. You often wake up in the morning with a sense of angst, like you have a mission and you're not sure what that mission is. The mission is to tune in to the frequency of people. It's not the physical frequency, it's the spiritual frequency. And I say that because you're going to be picking up on the, you have the 18. Now, the 5818 is a channel called Work on What Has Been Spoiled, Judgment. In the Tree of Life, it is part of the 31st path of intelligence, the perpetual intelligence. It's remembering that you are eternal, that this isn't your first rodeo, and that you have a talent, Cheyenne, because also the Chiron is in the 6th hexagram, and then it moves postnatally to the 18, which is very critical because it tells me that, and let me show you your composite. So in composite, you're a split definition manifesting generator with the emotional solar plexus activated And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 gates that are portal gates to the spiritual world. And one gate that's a bridge. The 22 is a bridge between the spiritual world and the waking world. So if you look, and when I give you these sheets, look a lot at the four worlds, because they're very relevant for you. And I say that because you're so open emotionally and physically that you do pick up in your body at times what other people feel. It's not so much when you're talking to them, it's more when you touch them. And you have the sense for whether they're aligned spiritually or whether they're being pulled emotionally away from themselves. Now, the 59 for you is Mercury. Do you have trouble sometimes trusting your psychic perceptions?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, a lot.
And with Mercury probably communicating it as well. If I
Well,
do feel
the
that way.
Mercury, what's happening for you, I have the 5818, 4816 in every single one of my designs. And what that tells me is, and I've been a clinical psychologist for over 50 years, I think going on 60 years. So, in any case, my talent as a clinician was somebody could be talking to me and telling me their story and what they wanted to have happen. And I would know if it was right for them spiritually or not.
Mm.
And I could tactfully say, have you thought about this? Or what about this? Or how do you know you're going in the right direction? Now, for you, Cheyenne, going in the right direction for you is critical, absolutely 100% critical. And before you manifest anything, you always need to sit down. And I'm saying this really strongly, and I mean it really strongly. You need to take your time because the mental world tells you something is the right direction for you. And your inner gut says, but wait a minute, what about whatever it is? And you never, ever should allow the mental waking world to drive your direction unless it aligns with you spiritually.
Mhm.
And that means that if you're with people who are influential on you, they could pull you away from yourself. And in most children nowadays, because they're not, parents are not taught about the four worlds, and um, Jung did a little bit of it as a analyst, but not enough. So children are not being brought up to listen to themselves. In the tree of life, um, and let me grab one for you. Um, Let me grab one from class materials. Let's see what's in here. Tree of Life. I have one. Good. I'm going to put it here.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Tree of Life, we go from the sacral center down to the root, and that gives us four worlds. You can see the tree is divided into four worlds, and then every energy center has four worlds. An interesting thing that I found in my science that I had completely spaced out on until about a month ago was I had done a factor analysis of the body graph. And if do you know what a factor analysis is?
Mm-mm.
It's a statistic where you look to see what things hold together.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that the four worlds hold together according to the Tree of Life in the body graph. So we go from the sacral center to the root, then we go up to the splenic center. And in the Tree of Life, there's one channel, but in the body graph, there are three. And the world that's left out of it, because it's included everywhere, if we're in a body, is the mental waking world. So in the body graph, you have enough energy up the center and to the splenic side in the mental waking world. But what happens to you is in the lunar world, you get the solar plexus. Now, after we go to the root, and then we go to the splenic, and then we go via collective intelligence to the from the sacral to the splenic, like the 34th hexagram. And then we go back and we go up to the solar plexus. So we're doing this lower triangle with the body graph. And the reason it's so critical is that the solar plexus, you see this red between the solar plexus and the splenic center, that's the 27th path of intelligence in the Tree of Life. I'm emphasizing it because you have the 59-6
Mm-hmm.
and you have the 50-27. The
Mm-hmm.
50-27 is in the mental world. The 659 is in the lunar world as a transit. And that channel is only in the mental waking world. The six is in those worlds. And you can look at it. Oh, let me. You see here in the six, you have the 659 and the 659. And you have the 59 only in the emotional angelic world, but not in the spiritual. So it's saying emotionality must be transformed via consciousness in order for us to ascend to higher levels of awareness. Now, you're a good student, so I know that you want to really learn the truth. And the truth is that you are here to help people transform. And you mentioned that you're an esthetician.
Mm-hmm.
So you're dealing with people's self-image all the time. And if we think about it from a clinical standpoint, when people have misgivings about how they look. They don't feel good about themselves. And when you're working on them, a few things happen. Um, this is your composite. So this is your when you were born. This is a week, this is 3 months after you were born. And the reason I do that is that when I got the calculations, because I'm an astrologer and I wanted to get the charts of my kittens, because I knew we had their dream design, but not their sleep design. And I had twin homegrown kittens. So I had their birth data. And so as an astrologer, I thought, okay, well, we have the solar and the lunar. The next layer down would be solar minute and lunar minute. And when I ran them, not only did they differentiate my twin kittens, one of whom died at age 10 and the other lived to 18. So I really wanted to see the difference. But they delineated developmental times in baby development. So 3 months before birth, keep hearing a sound. Um, a week before birth, which is when the soul enters. Then 2 days before birth, the mother's hormones shift and the baby a week before drops. And then an hour and a half before birth is when transition in labor happens. Baby's in the birth canal. An hour and a half after birth, the baby is independent. 2 days after birth, attachment really happens. That's when the mother's colostrum turns to milk and the baby gets attached. A week after birth, in many societies, there's a ritual because the soul anchors into the baby. In early Catholicism, it was baptism. In Judaism, it's the bris. In other societies, they don't name the baby for a week. Now, that chart, you can look at the other charts and you see open splenic, open emotional, open splenic, open emotional, until you get to the lunar. And that's when you knew the energy around you. Is it mine or is it somebody else's? Is the question. And babies at age 3 months of age, as a developmental psychologist, I know that if a baby is not reaching for an object and smiling at people, there's something wrong with it. So using the developmental periods opens the door to saying 99% of everyone in the general population are manifesting generators at 3 months of age. We are all here to manifest our fullest potential. What we read in the designs is how do you go about doing that? Now, what I see for you, Cheyenne, is that, as I said, you have a very clear self-direction. And looking at your crown and ajna, and looking at the fact that at birth it was completely open, and then it filled in postnatally, and not until 3 months of age, and through the 6124. Now, the 6124 is Neptune, and the 24 is Earth. So I'm going to give you a way based on your design to frame questions for yourself. If there's something either you or someone you want to help keeps coming back to. So let me explain what the 6124 is, and let me describe to you a little bit about how it functions in you. The 61 is Neptune, and the 4 is Mars, and the 11 is your moon. And the prenatal moon in your lunar is the 6th hexagram. Otherwise, it's 33, 19. Okay, so I'm just going to interpret this for you. When you're around a person and you tune into them, if there's something that doesn't align, that's the wrong word. If there's something that you sense in your body is emotionally out of balance to their soul alignment, and I'm using words based on the gates and the channels. So open solar plexus until lunar. So you in somebody's presence, and if you're in somebody's presence, immediately you're in this mode. Of course, you are in this mode, but what I'm talking about now is how you process. So what you do is you're getting a measurement within yourself for you're reading them. The only way I can say it, you're reading them. And you're reading in your body, is this soul alignment or is it emotional? If it's emotional, it may not be conscious on your part, but you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on with them. And if it's someone you see regularly in your practice, let's say, and they keep coming in and nothing you do makes them feel good about themselves, you're going to be looking for something in their past that is blocking them from receiving the positive regard about who they are on a soul level. It's not you being an esthetician is not superficial. You know, some people could see it as, oh, it's beauty. You're not doing it for that. You're doing it because you know that people have been hurt when it comes to their physicality, and you have the capacity to transform it. But you have to come up with the right question. And for you, the clean questions are really the key. And clean language, I will make a note to include it. I'll include a document I put together for a hypnosis conference on clean language. I tend to use clean language, Cheyenne, for spiritual work. In my Step Over the Threshold uh, self-paced program, where I take people through the four worlds, in the spiritual part, I do a lot of clean questions because they don't have kinesthetic, auditory, or visual cues. So you're not inputting anything. Once you know who you're dealing with, it's likely you're going to get a vision or you're going to know because you know because you know. Don't let that scare you. Sometimes your psychic ability scares you. Is that true?
Hmm.
Don't let it. You have more than enough energy to handle it. Now, if we look at your astrology, do you have any questions so far?
I don't think so. I feel like when it comes to, like you said, I have a really clear sense of direction, but sometimes I don't feel like I know how to tap into that. Is it just me dropping out of my logical mind and tapping more into my gut that I like? What is connecting me? I guess.
Let's come back to that. Let's
Okay.
look at your chart and then let's come back to it because I think the answer might be here astrologically.
Okay.
So your sun is in Leo with two other planets in the sixth house. So you tend to take work very seriously and health seriously. Um, Relationships are karmic for you, and sometimes they challenge you, especially emotionally. Um, your north node and south node are in the second, eighth house, and it's in Libra Aries. That's the psychic aspect of it. But more important in the chart, and where my eye immediately went, was the Pluto in Scorpio in the ninth house. And it's in a conjunction with Jupiter, but the moon is in the 10th house in Sag. So you have values that you are not willing to compromise. Is that true?
Yeah.
Um, in relationships, now you have two kinds of relationships, okay? You have professional relationships and you have personal relationships. We
Hmm.
have to differentiate between them for you. In personal relationships, um, you must make sure that whoever you're in a close relationship with shares your spiritual values. If they don't, one of you will have to compromise. It could be you because you're going to pick up their energy and you're going to let go of your self direction to accommodate their emotional needs. That's very unhealthy for you. It is not what you're here to do. Um, I think you're here either with a partner or by yourself to do something with groups that has to do with your work and that has to do possibly with using your mental waking world access to activate the spiritual soul of the person's physicality. You know what I'm talking about?
You're saying I can help other people transform their spirituality through my perception of them.
Well, you're getting a lot of people who are, you go to an esthetician because you want to look better.
Hmm.
So some of the people you get feel good about how they look and they want to keep looking good. But that's spiritual for them, it's not physical. And the people who feel shitty about how they look come to you expecting a miracle. And by you listening and you encouraging them and you transforming their negative self-talk into positive talk,
Mm-hmm.
um, you become an instrument of transformation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's taking what you can bring from the mental world and merging it with the emotional, spiritual world, and then moving it to a higher level, which is not a process everybody can do. And the reason I focused on the 6124 is that you keep coming back intuitively, maybe not consciously yet. You're young.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you've passed a huge milestone. To me, you're a baby.
Mm-hmm.
You're really just starting out in what you're going to do when you grow up. And so, what I'm telling you is really your life mission is to bring your consciousness and reading of what the repeating pattern is for someone and asking that person, let's say you have someone who comes every month for a facial
Mm-hmm.
within the realm of reason. Do you have people who do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Consistently.
let's say somebody's coming and it's not a happy woman.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when somebody's having a facial, they talk or you chat with them, sort of like hairdressers.
Mm-hmm.
They know a lot about people. You can begin to ask, what does this feeling remind you of from your past? And what do you know about it? Some therapeutic type questions could lead them to you being the source of their emotional transformation because you can put the piece together as to what they're returning to. There's going to be a theme, and over time, you're going to see the theme that other people won't see. I had a client um, that taught me about the 6124. She happened to have been a famous actress, and she loved Broadway, but she had gotten a bad review on Broadway, and she became a movie star. But movie stardom was not her love. And she kept returning to that, returning to that, returning to that. And I thought, she has the 6124. What is the lesson for her that she keeps returning to an event many years ago that set a course of action for her in her life that she didn't fully dial into? And you have that talent to see that about the 6124. So, in your own life, if there's anything that is a repeating issue for you, I'd recommend you say, what does this remind me of from my past? And when reminded of my past, did it move me away from my true direction? Because you have the 214, which is keys of the kingdom, direction of the self. And direction of the self is not a mental world direction, but you lose the two. And where do you lose it? You lose it. And what comes in? Listening to other people and being a leader. And what are you a leader for? Well, here in the lunar you're picking up all kinds of energy until you get to the postnatal lunar, where the 59-6 comes in. Oh, I've been carrying this for this person. Now I can give it to this person, and that person can have ownership of transforming it. So you drop crumbs to people from your psychic hits. Okay, so let's look more at the astrology. What I do is I look at the astrology. So this is your chart. And then I look at where do we have an undercurrent. So if we take your ascendant, for example, 8 of Pisces, every 30 degrees is another zodiac. So that can be broken into 12 signs. So I look at what's beneath the surface of your natal sun in Leo has an undercurrent of Capricorn. So you're not going to take charge unless you feel like you can do a better job than the other person is doing. Is that right? Because if you took on something and you didn't do it well, you'd be really upset. Now, I know that we're going to run out of time, so I'm going to quickly go through. This is your Dwad chart in a wheel. And look at how under the surface, your Sun, your Mars, and your Jupiter are all in the 8th house of psychic ability. And I would venture to say that you either had one parent who acknowledged it or a parent who didn't want to know about it. Is either of those true?
I feel like my mom was always more spiritual, so she definitely probably encouraged that or probably saw that more in me. And then my biological father was not a part of my life, but I feel like my stepfather probably wasn't as attuned to that as my mother was.
So your mother um, gave you a gift, and now you need to use it.
Hmm.
So this is today. And I did this especially because with your Pluto, um, no, what was it? What was what am I looking at? Well, your progressed moon is 3 degrees of Aquarius, and Pluto is right on your moon. And it's been hovering. Um, this 27 degree of Capricorn is so close to the transiting Pluto and the moons that we've had. June 6th, I did a podcast on June 6th, if you haven't listened to it, um, on the full moon in June, which was huge. It was a still moon. And then in July, we had a new moon, which is usually a new beginning, but it is a special moon. And on the 28th of August is a full moon that is very powerful. So, are you in a relationship?
No, not necessarily. I mean, kind of navigating one.
You're right. You're navigating it. It's very Virgo, and you may be more of an emotional transformer than being transformed, and that may not be okay for you.
You feel like
Uh,
that's the current energy?
you need somebody who's going to protect your psychic ability.
Hmm.
and have your spiritual values. So, with your Pluto in Scorpio in the ninth house, why do I hear a sound?
It's probably honestly in the background here. I apologize.
Oh, okay. As long as it's not interfering. So your work is being timed to be more visible. So I don't know what that means for you. We can certainly talk about it privately at a different time if you want. But
I feel like at this point in my life, I'm almost transitioning from being an esthetician to wanting to be more online and do my human design, honestly. And so that's
I don't think you're going to be able to do human design because it's an incomplete, faulty system. And
Mhm.
I'm about to release the science book that shows how much misinformation is in it. For example, um, I don't use profile because
Mhm.
profile is a mathematical artifact of the statistics.
Mhm.
And so instead, you can see under each chart, I have keywords. So you are the Sphinx, which means understand yourself. And then it shifts to the pattern of Eden, which interpret how you will. What is Eden, or what do you know about Eden? Would be the clean question. And then it moves to refinement. So whatever the process is, you need to refine it for it to be right for you. Then you get to add to the Sphinx again, to informing. And that's interesting that informing comes in when you get the 659 and the Sun Earth are in your 713. So there is a part of you that wants to advise people
Mhm.
about what's right for them. And you do that by informing what you have actually learned about them. And then it's incarnation. So I use those words in sequence of a figure eight. And the figure eight infinity sign is bridging all the hemispheres of the brain and of the body. So um, take in what I've told you. Your real chart is the manifesting generator chart that has the emotional center. And the most important thing for you and let me just quickly look at this. This is just the regular one. You're right to transition now. Um, you're right to be visible now. And Chiron is right on your south node, so it's meant to be. Let me take a drink.
When you say Chiron's on my south node and it's meant to be, what are you picking up from those connections?
I don't know enough of anything really about you,
Mhm.
but what the chart is telling me is that you need to make yourself visible with what you want to do
Mhm.
and do it in a way that really honors who you are from the sense of direction that you have for yourself and what you can do for other people in terms of transforming their emotions. And
Mhm.
you may find that using it in your practice as an esthetician may be a lot easier build than using it leading with human design.
Hmm.
because you could use their charts to do a reading based on what they know about what you know and they've told you about their self-esteem, and
Mm-hmm.
use it as an empowerment tool.
I like that.
This is the Dwads. So this is not your regular chart, but I did this to see if we're looking at the undercurrent, what this is telling us. Oh, there it is. Um, Cheyenne, how much? I'm going to stop the sharing. I'm just going to talk to you. How much training, if any, have you done on psychic ability?
None.
Um, do you meditate?
Not as much as I should.
Do you have a form of meditation you do?
It's either like a sitting meditation or a walking meditation, just any kind of form of like connection.
Have you ever considered doing transcendental meditation?
I don't even know if I know what that is.
Um, look up transcendental meditation, and if I can, I'll send you a link. Where do you live in Utah?
Uh-huh.
There should be a TM center in Utah. Um, because it's worldwide. It's Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. I've been a TM meditator since 1974. It changed my life.
Mm.
Um, within a week of starting to meditate, I went from being able to swim 8 laps to 13 laps.
Hmm.
And I went, okay, I got the message. I'm a meditator. Um, it opens energy channels in a safe way. And in my practice, people who did TM continued meditating, people who did other things did not. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a sliding scale. So, and it's an act now. So I think you have to do something in person and then there's an act. But okay. So what I'm seeing for you is that you're almost like it's not exactly a receiver, but it's a receiver. But it's
Mm-hmm.
not all the time. So if you meet somebody, you're going to have some feeling about what's going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not until a week later that you know what aspect of their emotionality has been involved. Because it takes you time inside yourself to listen to the psychic in conjunction with the verbal, and to, over time, be able to delineate what it is sits wrong with you. And that's where you look. Because you know what the inner aligned frequency is. And if the person is not internally aligned, you feel it, you know it, and then an unconscious part of you starts looking for the block.
Hmm.
And when you know how to ask about which block it is, that's when your gift will really come in.
Hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's when the charts are really going to make sense to you. The human design chart is not going to do it for you
Yeah.
because because the emotional comes in the spiritual layer.
Mm-hmm. Do you think I should take like further into your four worlds course?
Yes, you absolutely should get more involved in the four worlds.
Yeah. To understand
Uh,
other people's charts if I'm going to be integrating it, integrate the four worlds so I have a better understanding.
yes, integrate the four worlds. I have some books. I have, it's going to be
Yes,
starting.
I have a couple of your books already.
Oh,
So I have the Triple Design Matrix and your Beyond Human Design so far.
oh, great. So I will be in September. I will begin to teach some four world classes, sort of one world at a time,
Mm-hmm.
and do it fairly affordably. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
my four worlds class for human design practitioners um, is more extensive. Let me just say before I turn off the recording that if anybody is watching, please like and subscribe. It helps us a lot, and we really appreciate it. And if anybody wants to contact me, my email is ehp@noblesciences.com. Okay, I'm going to turn it off.